This completely changes how we look at the Cavs. A recent article coming out about a possible move that Kenny Atkinson could be making for the start of the season. It makes a lot of sense, but I'm going to break down why I don't think it's necessarily the right one. Welcome to another episode of Cavs Digest, everybody. I'm your host, Darayus Sethna. Thanks so much for joining me. We're going to get into all things Cavs every day of the week. Matt's been doing a great job posting stuff, so we want to make sure you're staying tuned. And to do that, like this video and subscribe to the Cavs Digest YouTube channel. We appreciate your feedback, your input, and overall your support. So thanks for keeping the channel going. Always appreciate the love that we've been seeing here on the channel. But let's get into it right away, because recent article that I found while just doing some Google search and doing some research was actually pretty interesting, because it talked about now with, Max Strus, we all know, going to be out for about 3 to 4 months with, some foot injury. And now Matt and I have really been talking about who's going to fill that void. Is it going to be DeAndre Hunter, Sam Merrill, someone else? There's a lot of plug and play that can go on with this situation here. This article specifically mentioned why it would be Sam Merrill who could be that starting swingman for the Cavs alongside Donovan Mitchell and then eventually Darius Garland when he gets back. And when you think about it, it actually does make a lot of sense, because Sam Merrill does have a lot of the same qualities as Max Strus. So from a replacement standpoint, he'd kind of fit right in seamlessly, right? He's that spot shooter, doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time, team player, plays hard on the defensive side of the ball, so really fits the mold of Max Strus. Maybe to a slightly lesser degree, obviously, but nonetheless has a lot of those same attributes that you're looking for in a swingman type player, especially on this Cavs team where there are already so many dominant guards on the roster. So going into this article mentioned 3 specific reasons why Sam Merrill would be the best fit. So the first point is kind of what I mentioned just a minute ago. The shooting prowess, right? He fits in perfectly to what the Cavs would already have in their offensive lineup, right? When you think of Darius Garland, Mitchell, Max Strus, and then the front court of Mobley Allen, replacing Sam Merrill, putting him into the equation now, doesn't really shake things up a lot in terms of a talent or tactical standpoint, right? When you look at Merrill's stats here, he actually finished 5th on the team in threes made per game, a little less than two threes made per game, and also for Sam Merrill, finished the season with a career high in minutes, about 19.7 minutes per game, and that's coming off the bench too. So this is a player who certainly has gained the trust of Kenny Atkinson and has earned his way into a meaningful role with the Cavs. Now, could that lead to an even greater promotion, a starting role here with the team? And this kind of goes into my second point as well. Strus fits in seamlessly with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, right? The 2 guards on the screen there need the ball in their hands to be successful, right? And that's not a knock on them. That's just their game, right? They're scorers, they're creators, they're offensive facilitators, right? So that means when you put a guy like Max Strus in there, all his job is to essentially do is shoot the basketball and play good defense, right? That is what is important there. And Sam Merrill basically fits that same mold. He's a spot shooter, he doesn't need the ball in his hands and is going to play hard on defense. So the fit would be seamless, in a perfect world. If Strus fits that role, then I believe the Cavs are going to be successful. If Merrill fits that role, the Cavs do have an opportunity to be successful. When I look at some of the stats here, going into it a little bit more, I brought up Max Strus' stats here. As you can see, the 26 minutes per game as a starter, 9 points per game, right? Then you look at those bottom 2, 44% from the field, 39% from 3. When you look at Sam Merrill's stats, they don't fall far behind, honestly, right? The 19.7, obviously, career high for him in minutes per game. The numbers are going to be slightly less, obviously, because he's not getting as many minutes. He didn't get as many minutes as Strus last year, so less shot opportunities, etc., etc. But you look at those bottom 2 stats, right? The field goal percentage and the three-point percentage. Look at here for Merrill, 41%, three-point percentage 37%. Now let's go back to Strus, and you look at that 44% for him, and then 39% from three. So honestly, these numbers aren't far off, and that's why I say, Merrill would be really fit in seamlessly in a perfect world if all things go well. He would basically just be that plug and play for Max Strus. So this article does bring up a great point about why Merrill would be a fantastic option here for Kenny Atkinson. Despite all of this, that's right, I'm going to have to disagree with what this article has to say. And that is because I just believe in this guy too much. I believe in DeAndre Hunter. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to, knock Sam Merrill. He earned his contract extension this year. He's been a vital piece, especially in that Cavs second unit. And I think that's where he needs to be in order to kind of keep that train rolling in the second unit. I'll go into that in detail in just a bit here. But with DeAndre Hunter, I think he's earned the right to see what he can bring consistently as a starter. He's been in this league, since 2019, so this makes it his 6th, 7th year in the league, right? He's proven to be a consistent starter in this league. And if you think about it, not this past season, but during his career in Atlanta, you saw continual growth from DeAndre Hunter. Starting in 2019, his rookie season averaged about 12 points per game, coming in out of Virginia as the 4th overall pick. And then in his final season with the Hawks, where there wasn't a lot of talent around the team had kind of drifted off in a sense after that conference finals run in 2021. In that his final year with Atlanta before being traded to the Cavs, almost 19 points per game. So that's and when you look at the stats, it's continual growth every single year. This is a player who has gotten better and has now put himself into consideration for a 6th Man of the Year candidate, right? So this is someone who I believe, isn't that spot shooter or something like that, like a Sam Merrill, Max Strus type of player, but he's so dynamic as an offensive player that I think he can truly bring that extra punch the Cavs need, especially to set the tone in games with that starting five. I think this would be the best move for Kenny Atkinson to make because, like I said, DeAndre Hunter has earned that opportunity. And with Hunter in the lineup, to be quite honest with you, if you have Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, and then Hunter, that makes the Cavs, in my opinion, a top 3 starting 5 in the NBA. That is a starting 5 with honestly no weaknesses. They all pretty much play solid defense. Maybe Garland's the weak link in that starting 5 defensively, but he's a tenacious defender, right? You have obviously the offensive firepower is going to be off the charts, right? Allen's going to be cleaning up the boards. Evan Mobley is going to take a leap. DeAndre Hunter can create offense, be a spot-up shooter, is a dynamic offensive player, and then we obviously know what Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can do, right? So this, to me, would be the best move for the Cavs, and then additionally, this also works is because it takes pressure off of guys ultimately like the Sam Merrills of the world, this guy, the Dean Wades of the world. The Cavs starters could still perform too with these guys in the second unit, right? Because you have such a strong starting 5, you could find a way. This isn't rec basketball where everybody has to come off and then a whole new set of players go in. It doesn't work like that. You could put in Donovan Mitchell with a Dean Wade, or a Darius Garland with a Sam Merrill, or even a DeAndre Hunter Sam Merrill combo, something like that. And I think that is really going to what makes the Cavs offense so dynamic and what led to them ultimately capturing the number 1 seed last year. So to me, this takes pressure off of guys like Dean Wade and Sam Merrill to really have to step up and feel the pressure of being in the starting 5. Not that they necessarily couldn't handle it, but is that ultimately what will be best for the team? And I think what's going to be best for the team is having DeAndre Hunter be in the starting lineup to replace Max Strus for the first couple months of the season. But I want to know your thoughts, because this is definitely, there's no right or wrong answer here. Could it be Sam Merrill? Could it be DeAndre Hunter? We really don't know who's going to work best with the other 4 players in that starting lineup. I want to hear what you have to say. So make sure you leave a comment to this video, like this video, subscribe to the Cavs Digest YouTube channel, and make sure that you stay tuned to what Matt and I have got going on. Love making videos here for you guys. The season's only a couple months away, and I cannot wait. All right, everybody, have a terrific weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time right here on Cavs Digest.